my list, Mike, looks like this. I do think those Philadelphia Eagles fans, when you boo Santa Claus, you're always going to be on the list. Even if you're not regional, you're always going to be on the list. I think they're the worst. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we're an obnoxious lot because Steeler fans are everywhere. What happened was they shut down the steel mills years ago. All the Steeler fans had to move, so they moved everywhere. And you know what they did? They reproduced. Now there's little obnoxious Steeler fans everywhere. They're everywhere. I think Yankee fans are so obnoxious, and they too are everywhere.
Obnoxious?
In fact, can you go to a Marlins or Devil Rays game, albeit they don't have any home fans, and anybody's there other than Yankee fans? I'm tired of Yankee fans. They're everywhere, and I'm tired of the Yankees. Let me tell you who's obnoxious, Mike. Alabama fans are obnoxious because they think they invented the sport. Now, they didn't invent the sport, and they haven't figured out yet that Bear Bryant's gone. I want to give a memo. You know, one of your memos? You have any memos left?
I probably have one for you.
Need a memo that Alabama fans need to know Bear Bryant is gone. And the number one most obnoxious fans, and God bless them, I love them, and God bless it, I went to school with them. But the one time I've got to agree with you, the Gator fans can be an obnoxious lot. I love them.
Can be.
But they can be an obnoxious lot.
The things that don't belong on your list, the Yankees, 26 titles.
Of course the Yankees don't belong on
to be arrogant, as has Bama football with 12 national championships. I know that memo's in here somewhere. You haven't gotten it yet. If you win, you're allowed to be a little bit obnoxious.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about maybe guys that you didn't like as much, but had some value, disliked people who had value to their team. That's coming up, so stay with us.
You're tuned into the place for the biggest debate on the hottest topics in sports. It's the 1010 XL Showdown presented by Florida Telco.
There's an awful lot of guys in the world of sports that don't have great reputations, but they were awfully good for their teams. Good players, good coaches, maybe bad reps. Who are they?
Well, I'll tell you, it might surprise you who I've got on here because I think the most disruptive, obnoxious guy, Mike Tyson, is very good or was very good for the sport of boxing. People cared more about boxing when Mike Tyson unified the heavyweight division than they had in a while. It had gone through a down period, and since Tyson has left, it's gone through a down period. Now, what does that say about boxing? That's for you to decide. But Mike Tyson clearly helped the popularity of boxing in that regard. But I think, Frank, the guy that ultimately history will judge being obnoxious, being notorious, but helping his sport is going to be Jose Canseco because his tell-all book on steroids, I think, opened the door to a further investigation of exactly what this era in baseball was all about. And every revelation we get about a current player, his book rings more and more true about Mark McGwire, about Rafi Palmeiro, and about a host of other players using steroids in baseball.
Mike, I'm glad you said it time, though, because it's going to take a while before anybody says anything positive about Jose Canseco. I don't debate your point. I think in time, what he had the guts to say, maybe because he was desperate, but what he had the guts to say it probably will change baseball, but it'll take a while. To the point of somebody that really was came off as a clown and self-promoting, and you said, this guy's an idiot, but teams were always good when he was around, is Dennis Rodman. Whether you liked Rodman or not, when Rodman's around, you know what he did? He went and got rebounds. He didn't need shots. He shared the basketball. I've heard more basketball coaches say, if you had more guys that wanted to play defense, wanted to rebound, and didn't want to shoot the ball, I mean, he's the guy, I thought he had a huge impact on those great Chicago Bulls runs. I thought he was the guy that stands out there.
Well, clearly, not only on the Bulls, but on the Spurs as well. And, you know, he got to the point, though, where he'd almost hurt you with his disdain for offense. He wouldn't even shoot the ball. But I agree with you. For a guy that you focus more on the dresses that he wore and the crazy stunts that he pulled, he won an awful lot in the NBA.
All right, so there's guys that were good and guys that were better than maybe people understood they would be. Now, let's turn our attention now to guys who maybe you didn't like, but you had to respect them. I don't like them, but I respect them. What do you think of those folks? Once again, a Tom Bush BMW shout-out.
Player that I hated, I'd have to say John Elway, being a Browns fan back in the 80s. I hated that guy, but he's one of the best.
Honestly, Bobby Bowden. I mean, the only reason, it's hard to hate that guy because he seems like a nice guy, but to me it all seems fake.
Bobby Bowden.
Bobby Knight.
Bobby Cox.
Billy Donovan.
Eli Manning.
Kobe Bryant, because you hate him, but he's just such a good player.
He may be a ball hog, but Kobe can play basketball.
I would say George Steinbrenner. A lot of people hate him.
New York, Steinbrenner.
Michael Vick.
Bill Park.
Barry Bonds, definitely. He's, a lot of controversy surrounding him, but when it's all said and done, he's going to end up being a home run king.
Mike Krzyzewski. I hate Duke with a white-hot passion.
What does that tell you about North Carolina and Duke? Mike Krzyzewski, you hate him with a white-hot passion?
White-hot passion
You
for
kidding
Coach
me?
K.
I don't know if I hate anybody with a white-hot passion.
His name's on the court. You can't just have a white-hot passion for him.
A lot of Kobe Bryant mentions. What is it about Kobe Bryant that people find so distasteful? You're clearly one of the best basketball players the NBA has seen.
I think the accusation in Colorado changed him forever. I think it's changed. I think he was on the Sprite commercials and the McDonald's commercials, and he was the LeBron beforehand, maybe the next Jordan. I think all that completely changed the way he's perceived. Mike, I think of all the guys you saw our shout-out reach, a lot of people said Bowden or Coach K or people they don't root for. It was the other team, represented the other team. The one guy over the years I heard that about more than anybody else was Spurrier. Can't tell you how many anti-Gator fans would say, I can't stand Spurrier, I can't stand him, but man, he's good. I think he is the poster child for that category.
I'm so proud of you. You finally got a memo in time for the show.
Well, I did. You were
the guy.
holding the memos.
He's the guy, though. You know, the thing that Spurrier said that I've quoted a million times is it's not my job to stop my team from scoring points. You know, if Kentucky is going to stop scoring points, then I'll try and stop scoring points. I'll let my team run it out. You know what? Run the clock, run the score, do whatever you want. Win is the main thing. Did I hate him as a Florida State fan? Of course I hated him. I hated his mouth. I hated his attitude. I hated the visor. I hated all that. But I loved it when he took one in the chops, and you couldn't help but respect the ability he brought to the game as a coach.
Mid-'90s, he's playing in Athens, Georgia. Nobody had ever scored 50 on the Bulldogs in Athens. It's 49-7 or somewhere thereabouts. Somebody came over to him and said, you know, Coach, no opposing teams ever scored 50. He said, is that right? And they said, that's right. Threw it in the end zone afterwards, came up to the press conference afterwards, got booed unmercifully. We asked about it. He said, those Georgia fans didn't want me to throw that touchdown. He said, but I don't work for the Georgia fans. That's Steve Spurrier. We'll take a break. We're almost out of time. We'll come back and wrap it up. Players and coaches you don't like, notorious ones after this. Athletes and coaches that you didn't like, notorious. We've missed a couple that were flamboyant that I kind of liked. Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. I never disliked either one of those guys, yet a lot of people did.
I'm not a big Michael Irvin fan, more for his post-playing career than for his playing career. I didn't mind the histrionics on the field. I love Deion, of course. I come from a biased Florida State perspective. One of the most notorious, infamous athletes of all time is Muhammad Ali, and you want to get into a debate.
Right.
Boy, I tell you what, people will line up passionately on either side of the Muhammad Ali debate. Obviously, a great sportsman, but beyond that, people are ready to go to battle over some of his opinions and things he did.
That's generational, too, I think, Mike. Back in the day, anybody that danced after a touchdown or ran too slowly around the bases after a home run was considered a bad guy. Now they're considered more of an entertainer. Don't you think that as generations change and as society changes and is more accepting of that those guys are not disliked as much? Because they were terribly disliked back in the day.
Now, I don't think it's so much his personality and the bombastic attitude. I think it was his stance on the Vietnam War and his religious views that really divide people more than anything. But you know what? This topic is so great because how many times have I told you I take almost as much, if not more, pleasure in my opponent's miseries as I do my own success. So I love to hate, and I love to see guys fail miserably when I'm rooting against them.
You told me one time you'd almost rather see the Red Sox lose than the Yankees win, right? You'd like to see crumble and choke and be miserable, right?
Almost in that neighborhood.
That is our program, athletes and coaches that you love to hate and some of whom you respect. That's our program. We hope you've enjoyed it. For Mike Dempsey, I'm Frank Frangie. So long till next time.